Really exciting announcement. We're going to be starting a second channel called Elemental Yoga. You guys know, we're big advocates of doing both yoga and jiu-jitsu, and which is why we're actually collaborating them in our business, right? And what we're doing on the school we want to open. It's an amazing combination. But what we want to do is give you more of it. So we said, why don't we have a second channel called Elemental Yoga, where it's a completely dedicated channel on yoga, on recovery, on meditation, on mindset. And then we have the jiu-jitsu side, which is exactly what I'm doing like right now. So the idea is we're gonna have Elemental Yoga, Stasis Jiu-Jitsu. They're both the same thing. Like you'll even see the logo and everything is the same thing. Right? So don't think it's like completely different and irrelevant. Same idea, except you're gonna have a dedicated yoga channel, you're gonna have a dedicated jiu-jitsu channel, and you get to go back and forth. Oh, you know what? My back's hurting. Okay, let's see if I find a video on Bianca's channel for back pain relief, which we have a whole bunch of videos already set. We're gonna upload. It's gonna be great. So keep an eye out. I'm gonna make the full announcement when it's actually launched. We're gonna do it in about a week or two. We just have a few things we have to set and organize. We have a bunch of videos we gotta edit, and then we're just gonna launch it. It's gonna be great. So keep an eye out. Check, I would say, the Stasis Jiu-Jitsu Instagram. Check Facebook regularly and you'll see it, and we're really excited to show you guys. Hey everybody, how's it going? Aslan Joseph. Welcome back to Stasis Jiu-Jitsu. Today's video is going to be about the side escape. Now that's the most basic move you probably learn at any Jiu-Jitsu academy. Just you come in, do some trims as a warm-up, whatever, and then let's get on doing some escapes. Now the thing I want to really go over today is just the details, the mechanics inside of a side escape. How do I, because a lot of people get so confused about it. They think it's a lot of arm bench pressing and they really neglect the hips. And there's a concept I'm going to show you guys today. I've mentioned it in other videos. I'm going to mention it again today. I'm going to put a little more focus on it. Instead of me talking, let's just get right into it and I'll show you the details. Starting off with the first thing is going to be the frames. Almost everyone will talk about frames, frame here, frame there. Now from the side control, what are you actually doing with the frames? Like what are we actually doing? Are we bench pressing them? Are we like holding it limp? I want to really explain that to you. So the idea of a frame is just going to be in this position, just a firm hold on your partner. The idea is you don't want your arms to be bent around and twisted and isolated. That's the biggest thing. You don't want it to be isolated. So keeping them nice and firm against your partner. Now, when they approach in the side control, you guys know one on the hip, one on the neck. The one on the hip, the idea is you don't want to have it shallow like this, right? Because this can slip through. And if they can actually have their hips go inside my armpit, that's going to be a huge issue, right? So I don't want them climbing up. I want to have this forearm go all the way across. So if you actually rotate just slightly this way, if she postures up, you can see my arm's going all the way across. Like I'm seriously going across her belt line. That's how far you got to go. So again, not shallow all the way through. So that's the first one. If the guy had a gi, I would advise not to hold on to it. So right now we're rash guard. This is in like a rash guard situation, which is great because I'm not tempted to grip anything. So if you're tempted to grip, the gi is fabric. It can open, it can get loose. So sometimes when you're in a panic, you're trying to escape and you're holding a gi and you push, that fabric's going to stretch, forcing your arm to just lose position. So don't even bother. Just have open palm or maybe just kind of clasp onto the body. The second frame is going to be, it doesn't matter which order, but the second frame is going to be the one on the neck. So this one, same idea, forearm across the neck, when you clasp onto that shoulder. This one's not really anything too crazy. I would just say from here is just keep it nice and firm, just like the arm on the hip. But this one's going to be pretty important. Third, my leg actually. So if you look at my leg, so the leg nearest to her body, I'm just going to mount up kind of like I'm just sitting in a chair relaxing. I want to just kind of hover around her hip. Now the reason why we do this is for a few reasons. So the first reason is because I don't want them to just surprise me with a mount. So if her, like for example, let's say her right leg picks up and goes across my body, they can actually do this really quickly. I'm going to be shocked by it. So I want to make sure I'm prepared. So by having this knee here, if I feel them lift up, I can take that as an invitation to do the escape. That's number one. Number two is just also anytime I feel like I want to go for it, right? Anytime I feel like I want to escape, the journey that my knee will have to take is shorter. So it's a shorter journey versus from here, I do all that. And by that moment, seconds count. Believe me, seconds count. So they're going to notice it. So having this foot up, it does two things at once. And now for the actual escape. Here we go. This is what's going to happen. Your frames are just going to hold them in place. They can push a little bit. For sure, they're going to push. But don't overexhaust yourself. They're just there to hold. So they're going to hold. And at the same time, what I want to do is I want to just hip escape. Using my far leg, I want to hip escape. and I'm going to hold them in place. Because naturally, what are they going to do? They're going to want to follow me. So if I just hip escape and do nothing, they're going to just follow with their legs. And that's why people get into this like very exhausting game of hip escaping, and the guy keeps following them. Or even worse, people will bench the guy, so they'll bench them really hard and they'll try to escape, and then they get tired. So just hold the frame and watch. I'm going to hip escape. And if you've had that form across, that's going to open a gate for my knee to go in. Now, if they try to close the side control gap, so if they try to close the gap by moving in, that frame should hold them in place. Watch now, my knee is going to pierce through. I'm going to change the angle to show you the detail that I've always mentioned in a lot of the videos, and I'm going to mention it again, the Spartan shield. So the Spartan shield is what I call the act of bringing my knee and my elbow to touch, forming a shield from the top of my wrist all the way down to my shin. This is a solid surface, and it's used in so many positions, offensively, defensively. And in this position, it's a defensive sort of position. So watch. I hold them in place. They try to follow me, right? They can't. Move my knee in, and I'm going to connect my knee and elbow. So she postures up here. So you guys see right here. This is the idea. Because if they try to go into side control, that's going to be a shield blocking them. It's very key. And the idea now is as my arm moves out, it drags along my knee. I do not disconnect them. And I'll show you when you can. So from here, I hip escape, and I bring my knee to touch. If you need more power, if you need more of a bridge to it, let's say they're very heavy, that's no problem, you can. All you gotta do is bridge into them. You can use one of your feet, or actually two of them. And you can drop that foot down for 2 seconds, it's not a huge deal. So as I bridge, I can hold them in place and hip escape. That's also if they're very, very big and strong. So once you connect, watch what I'm gonna do. As I walk my foot, I'm gonna push on their inside of their thigh, I can push on their hip. It's not a huge deal. You kind of want to go back and forth with it just to make it comfortable for yourself. So you want to have a bit of a negotiation here. Because I'm pushing my knee through. My free leg can have 2 jobs. It can either hook onto her back using my heel, this adds traction. Or if their foot is available, I don't know if you guys can see, but I can actually hook on to her leg. I can drag that leg. And what this does, it puts pain in her knee. She's not going to want to follow me this way. So you can go 1 or you can go 2, doesn't matter. Now watch as my knee pierces through. Once you get that knee piercing through, there's a big detail that gets forgotten, and it's a hip extension. Watch my hip extend. And at the same time, I'm going to scoop her arm. So watch, once my knee really pierces through, watch the extension of my hip. Look how far now I separated my torso from her torso. So she was originally controlling my torso and my hip. So I got my hip through, and the final thing was my torso. Look how far it is now. Following through, change the angle of your hip. This allows the leg to come free. A lot of times people will stay here and they'll be like, man, no matter what I do, I can't get my leg out. Change the angle. The leg will fly right out and you can lock your legs. So again, solid frames, right? Your frames hold them in place as you, number 2, hip escape. Once you hip escape, connect your Spartan shield. So bring your knee all the way through, touch your elbow. And then number 4, follow your knee all the way through. And then number 5, extend your hip. So frames, right? You have that foot up, frame, get that frame all the way across the belly. Hip escape, touch that Spartan shield. Or if you really need to, you can bridge, get a little bit more power out of it. Start pushing on everything you can. You can use your leg on the back of this, on the sort of like the waist. You can pull on it with your heel, or if you can find that ankle, you can drag that ankle. So as you continue, you get that knee all the way through. You get that knee all the way through. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to extend my hips. So I scoop that arm, and why do we also scoop the arm? You don't have to, but it's also to prevent my partner pushing my knee down. They can actually push this knee down, and I'm stuck, right? It's actually a good defense on their part. So when I scoop, that's it. They can't push, obviously. So now I extend my hip. I extend my hip as many times as I need to. Look how I change that angle, and I lock that closed guard. So again, just remember, the biggest thing is the frames hold them in place. Now, why I keep nagging that is because a lot of times people don't use the frames properly. They just keep their arms there, thinking it's something you just hold, that's it. No, it's a solid frame. You hold against them, keep it firm. You hip escape as you maintain it. Hip escape, maintain, get that knee through, touch that Spartan shield. And once it touches, it should not disconnect. Don't open it up. Continue all the way through and then expand that hip, expand that hip. If you apply those 3 things properly, amongst the other details I did, and you practice it, believe me, you're going to have a really solid side escape. And there you go. That's going to be the side escape. That's just a very nice basic introduction. And just I wanted to stuff just the most important details in there. If there are any questions about it, comment below. I always answer them. Any details about what I just said, what about this? Or what if they do this? I love them. Just go nuts about it. I enjoy it. Usual stuff. If you guys haven't subscribed, subscribe already. Like our videos. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next video.